It's time for Peptide Talk, featuring Garrett Pope. Now, here is your host, Joe Zapata.
This is Joe Zapata here with another week of Peptide Talk. I'm here with my man, the Peptide King, Cockhausen. Garrett Pope, what's up, Garrett?
What's up?
What's going on, guys? And before we get started, guys, can you please go to equipfoods.com, use promo code JERSEYJZ, and order all your protein. They got protein bars, they got different kinds of protein, all kinds of stuff. Just go to equipfoods.com, use promo code JERSEYJZ, and get 15% off your order. All right, guys. All right, Garrett. So we got a lot of things going on. Last week we talked about Amazon, how they pulled a lot of this bacterial water off the shelves. We couldn't get it, couldn't order it. But now apparently there is a huge lawsuit going on, and you know about it. So let's go right into it. What happens with this lawsuit that's going on?
All right. So apparently they have 11 different brands of reconstitution solution, bacteriostic water, etc. And there was 9 of the 11 brands after this lawsuit dropped were tested by an independent testing company. 11 brands were tested. 9 of the 11 didn't have the proper properties in them that they should to stay sterile. Now, the lawsuit, somebody used their reconstitution solution, bacteriostic water, and they had bad infections, bacterial infections in their body, and they had to have multiple surgeries from it.
Wow.
So that's what brought upon the testing from the independent tester, and 9 of the 11 brands did not have the proper 0.9% benzyl alcohol in it to keep it sterile, and basically it was just like diluted water or distilled water that they were selling. And when you put a say a peptide in there, for example, that will be good for 24 to 48 hours. That's it. So if you have a peptide that is supposed to be good for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever, you take in a daily dose. After the first 48 hours, bacteria starts growing in there.
Wow, I did not
realize
that.
Happened, and the person had to have multiple surgeries, and that's why they pulled all their stuff because of that. And now they're facing further because now what's happening is everybody and their mother, anybody that might have gotten sick, anybody that might have gotten an infection, anything is jumping in, going, "Hey, wait a minute! I bought water from Amazon. Hey, so they have a shitstorm for themselves right now. And not that Jeff Bezos doesn't have enough money.
No, he doesn't.
It ain't going to hurt him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Going forward, they're not going to sell that because they were selling bunk stuff, to be totally honest. 9 of the 11 was bunk. So they just pulled it all. And now other companies are doing the same because they realize, if we don't have the proper elements in here, we're screwed.
Yeah. One of the questions that came in actually that I brought Ben T from New Jersey said, "Hi, Garrett. I have to believe the government involved is not only a bad thing, it is also creates the black market and more deadly situations as people don't realize what they have. Do you agree?"
Yes and no. See, here's what happens. So in 2023, peptides were made illegal. A lot of the peptides, BPC 157, all those, they were made illegal. That's when the black market for the peptides actually blew up. Now that a couple months ago or 2 months ago, whatever it was, RFK Jr. said, "I'm going to make all these peptides legal." Every Tom, Dick, and Harry that never heard of a peptide before said, "What's a peptide? Oh, well, this sounds good." And they start researching it or they start Googling it or whatever, and they're just ordering from anywhere. Now, to that credit, anybody are jumping in on this trend right now, okay? And what I try to tell people is this, listen, there are people that I literally will talk about and they'll go, "Yeah, I heard about that. I just heard about that through my friend 2 weeks ago." And what I try to tell people is, you realize I was with Laker Ranch Rejuvenation getting BPC 157 and TB 500 for people in 2013. Do you realize Samoralin I was getting for people in 2013, prescribing for them, having it prescribed with Laker Ranch Rejuvenation? It's not Now, some of these peptides are new, the retrotide, all that stuff. But the peptides have been around for a while. They've been around for a very long time. This isn't something that you should just be finding out about. And if you are, what I tell anybody is do your research first. Don't just go off half-cocked. I'm going to use this. Read everything you can. Educate yourself. Nobody can educate yourself better than you. And I tell everybody that you can listen to every single thing online, even our thing. This is for, educational purposes only.
Correct.
I don't tell anybody you must do this.
No.
Everybody should research their own.
Yes.
Because to be totally honest, why would you put anything in your body just because you heard somebody say it's good? But that's the problem that's going on. Everyone's doing that now. They just hear this is good and I'm going to use it too. Well, hold on. Do you even know what you're using it for? Do you know why you should be using it? Do you know the benefits? Do you have that problem? It's like, for example, somebody, I'll go to, because apparently some people were so focused on last week's podcast about Cialis and Viagra when that had nothing to do with even the podcast. The podcast has to do with peptides. And listen, I just want to put this out there, okay? Our show is called Peptide Talk, not boner pill talk. Some people should understand that. But anyway, that's like somebody saying, hey, I take Cialis daily or I take Viagra daily. And right away I would turn around and I would say, oh, so you have an ED problem? No, not at all. I just, I heard somebody else takes it, so I take it. Well, do you see my point? So the same thing, because one person takes a specific peptide doesn't mean that you should be taking that peptide. Everybody wants to jump on the retatrutide bandwagon. I've never used retatrutide personally in my life. Okay. I don't, if I want to lose weight, all I have to do is cut my meals. I mean, I eat 7 times a day. You know what I'm saying? If I cut my meals back to 5 times a day, I drop weight like that. I don't want to, but I would never use retatrutide. There's people, bodybuilder, everybody jumping on. Nick Walker just gave an interview. The only thing that he changed, that he claims for the Arnold Classic from the Olympia, was retatrutide. He started using retatrutide.
Really? That's what Nick Walker said? Wow.
Yeah, he just gave an interview saying this, and that's what he attributes it to, and his waist and all that. And that's great, but at the same time, you're fighting to put all this muscle mass on, and then for you not to be able to diet naturally, and you have to take retatrutide to do it, I have an issue with that. See, if you're an overweight person and you need that to lose fat, totally different story. That's great for you. But if you're somebody who all year long is trying to put on size, Nick Walker's always trying to get bigger. So if you're always trying to get bigger and then you need that to cut down, that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. My opinion is, okay, well, you suck. You know what I mean? Like you. So what you're telling me is you couldn't do it through regular diet and cardio, and you needed that, okay? And that's fine if you were somebody who was overweight, if you were somebody with a thyroid issue, if you were somebody who isn't all year long saying, yeah, I want to go up to 330 this year. I want to. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Somebody asked me, and they wanted me to ask you this question. They said, when you had your clinic, how would it work? Would they come in and then you would examine them, and then they would have your doctor would write a prescription? How would it work when you had the clinic and they came to see you?
They would come in, they would sit down for the initial consultation.
Okay.
They would basically, let's say, I'll use for an example, somebody would come in, we do all the initial consults with people because the way that it was set up, believe it or not, I was better with the people than the doctor was. As far as the initial talking to them and this and that, and that's not saying much.
No.
So I would sit down with them and basically, let's say they would sit across from me and say, "Yeah, man, listen, I don't know what it is. I'll use 2 different examples. One, you would get a lot, somebody in their 40s, let's say, man, I got no energy, I've got no sex drive, I got no strength in the gym. I never want to train anymore. Blah, 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 blah. And okay, first thing I would do is I'm going to send you for blood work. Fill out everything I wanted tested, and then send it in. They would go and give them their paperwork. They would either go to Quest or LabCorp, okay? And they would get their blood work done, mostly Quest stuff. So they would go and they would get their blood work done. Then their blood work would be sent to me, and then I would call them to come in. And at that point, it would qualify what they could get. For example, if they were deficient in vitamin B12, if they were deficient in testosterone, if they were deficient. Now, listen, if somebody came in and there was something, and it's still around, but it's not that popular anymore because with the Retatrutide and all that, there was something called MIC Ultra Burn shots. And it was a vitamin B12 and a fat burning shot all in one, okay? And those were a real big seller. And anybody can get those. You didn't have to be deficient in anything in order to get those, okay? But a lot of times people will be deficient in vitamin D. You have women come in deficient in estrogen. You'd have testosterone. You'd have a lot of that, okay? And then that would qualify what they would get. Then they would get the prescription, and it went from there, okay? You know, they had to be deficient in things. You couldn't have, you know, I had one guy come in one time, I kid you not, comes in one time. You know, I sat across from me. I could take one look at him. He didn't have low testosterone. He didn't have any, you know, you could just see. And I said, well, okay, well, here's the blood work. It's $729. And no problem. He pulls out a wad of cash. I'll just pay you cash with it. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Get it all done. He sends for his blood work. When that blood work gets sent back to me, his testosterone was over 5,000.
So he just was looking for stuff.
He was just looking for stuff because after I had him come back in and I sat down with him, because what I did was, it was a business. I want everybody to understand that. So this was a business. This wasn't, you know, oh, we're just going to, you know, do this for fun. This was a business. So every time somebody came in, there was a consultation or an office fee. So you wanted the original consultation fee. Then every time they came in, there was an office fee on top of that. So I would have them come back. It wouldn't be where I would just talk to somebody over the phone and tell them, oh, yeah, you can get this, because then you have to come in to charge that fee. So he would come in, and basically I said to him, bro, your testosterone was, I think it was like 5,040, you know, low 5,000s. And I said, what exactly are you using? And he told me everything, how much testosterone. And I said, well, what are you doing exactly? He goes, well, I just got a promotion at my work, and they're going to drug test me in 90 days. And I want to make sure everything is now legit, and I have a script for it.
Okay.
That's not how this works.
No, definitely not.
That's not how this works. You know, basically, bro, you're shit out of luck. You know what I mean? Like, what you should have done is thought way ahead of this, got off everything. Yeah, you were going to crash your body for a little while, but that's what you got to do. Get off everything, then come in when your levels have dropped significantly, okay? And then blood test, and then we can put you on it. And do you see what I mean?
Yep.
He didn't want to do that. And, you know, you had other people too. They wanted to do like, so in 2013 down here, there was a massive bust. What ended up happening was the Bradenton, Manatee County and Bradenton Fire Department and the Manatee County Sheriff's Office, a whole bunch of the sheriff's officers and a whole bunch of the firefighters all got busted for steroids.
Wow.
All of them. It was all over the place down here. Okay.
Wow.
It was big time news, and they all got busted. So the ones that didn't get busted, that were on, all I know is I started fielding phone calls from all these guys. Bro, I got to get on it legally. They're going to test me now, because then what Manatee County did and what for their fire, everybody's being tested. So everybody came flying, and I got to get a legit script. I got to tell everybody, you got to get blood work first.
Yeah.
You got to get your blood done first. And if it says you can, you know, you need it, okay, great. But if it doesn't, legally you can't get it prescribed. That's not how it works.
Yeah, 100%.
And you know, what ended up happening was there was a former cop down here, former Manatee. He was the one that was ratting them all out.
Wow.
Because he apparently lost his job over something else, was bitter about it, and he went around ratting them all out, and that's when it happened. But anyway, I remember that. It was 2013. It was in the news. It was all over the place. when I started fielding phone calls, I knew what was going on, and I was trying to explain to people, that's not understand how this works. If what you're trying to do right now is still illegal, and understand, by no means am I sitting here saying, my God, I'm a squeaky clean angel. I can't do that. No, what I'm saying is this is a business, and you are putting me in a predicament where we can get in trouble, and I'm not going to do that. Like I use another example, one of the firefighters. Okay, he was one of the firefighters, but he was a major gym guy. He would compete in the fitness shows, the ones where they wear the long board shorts because they have yeah. I hate that shit, by the way. That's not bodybuilding to me. That's the dumbest crap I have ever seen in my life. Basically, you don't train your legs, but you want to compete. Okay.
Yeah.
So whatever. But anyway, I'm just going off on a tangent. So yeah, I'm like getting sidetracked. So he came in, and this guy legitimately, he was young. At the time, he was like 25 years old.
Okay.
And he came in, and he had the lowest testosterone number of anybody I ever saw in my life, 27.
Wow.
That's the testosterone of like a 91-year-old. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking, just to give you an idea, that's how bad, 27. And he came in with his girlfriend at the time. And I remember the girlfriend sitting there like all pissy and everything and all, and he's just like literally like sitting there like he wasn't even, it was like he was just like in a deep depression because he had nothing, like he had no, and I said to him, I said, you competed in fitness shows that you got to tell me what exactly. So he told me from the point he was like 16 or 17 to the point he was like 24, he was on stuff straight. And I'm like, well, you completely destroyed your body. You crashed your body completely getting on that young. Your body wasn't developed yet. You crashed your natural hormonal levels. You know what I mean? So he was a prime example. Yeah, you're going to be on testosterone for the rest of your life at an early young age in your young 20s. Okay. So there was no issue there. Yeah. Not only do you qualify, you're going to, what else do you want? You know what I mean? And he actually, he was one of the firefighters and all that. And then he took off, last I heard, he took off to Tennessee because he also turned state's evidence. And because he lost his job and he decided, well, how can he keep his job or how can he keep out of jail and this and that. And he like ratted out a bunch of, but anyway, but he was I always tell the story. He was the lowest testosterone number I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen something that low in my life. And for somebody in their 20s, that's like literally, I mean, that's unheard of.
That's crazy. We're talking about, being, getting busted and all that stuff. We actually, you brought up a story last week when you were talking about this, about a Utah bust, a doctor in Utah. He made fake labels to sell peptides, popularized by influencers and RFK junior prosecutors say. Kind of crazy. I guess he was making money. What do you know about this story? Because I know.
All right, here's what he was doing. He was fooling his patients by telling them he was prescribing them these peptides, writing so they would see fake prescriptions.
Okay.
So what he would do is write out a script, show them, okay, I'm going to prescribe you this, this, and this, and this. Okay. These prescriptions were never being sent into obviously a real pharmacy, and they were never being sent into a compounding pharmacy either. What he was just doing was he was buying the peptides from China in bulk. Okay. Not knowing what like we talked about in the past, there could be heavy metals in there. They could be bacteria contaminated. You don't know what's in there. They could be great. You don't know that, but it's a crapshoot. And he was buying these things in bulk, but charging them script prices. So what he would do is, I'm going through the pharmacy, this, that. I get them for you right here. So he would get a bottle of something for, let's say, and you don't know what's in it. And he would get a bottle of something for, say, $8. And then he would turn around and tell you this prescription is $398.
Wow.
And that's how he was scamming people. But the problem was he was importing them from China. One, that's illegal. Two, you don't know what's in it. Three, he's going to lose his license because of the whole scam he was pulling. It's a different story if he couldn't write legit scripts for them, but getting them at least from a real compounding pharmacy or something. Different story. He's skirting the whole thing and just doing it like any online peptide store would do. and order them from China, and you don't know what you're getting. And that's why I tell people, you're putting this crap in your body. You better know what you're putting in your body.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's it. You know what I mean? Like, you're putting this in your body. This isn't stuff that you should be getting out of somebody's trunk. This isn't stuff that you should be getting on the black market. This isn't something you should be getting. Listen, like I've said before, I don't trust Chinese food, let alone anything else from China. Okay. I don't trust anything, you know. Listen, they gave us COVID. Why would I trust anything coming from China? So,
that's true.
You know, when I hear everybody and I hear it online a lot, oh yeah, I get it from the gray market from China. It's so cheap. Wait a minute. If you were to go buy a pair of sneakers and you go to the Nike store or you go to Walmart, what are going to be the better quality brand pair of sneakers usually? The Nike store, right?
Nike store, correct.
Okay. Well, it's the same thing when it comes to this. Just because you're getting it so cheap, does that mean it's good? So you're saving money, but this is a lot different than sneakers. The worst thing that's going to happen in sneakers is maybe you're going to get a bunion. They're not going to fit right and they're going to fall apart on you. With this, you're putting it into your body. And I try to tell people, I don't want anybody complain. You know, I hear people a lot, oh man, that's expensive. Well, okay, if you want, you can go get it online wherever you want that you don't know, that just says, you know, the most popular thing now everybody says is we have certificates of analysis. We have COAs.
That could be
really?
fake.
Where are they from? I don't know. Well, if you don't know that it's real. You know how easy it is to make a false certificate of analysis? Companies have been caught doing it already. So you better know, okay? I mean, listen, when I get things, okay, man, I line up that serial number with every, I mean, I line everything up. Certificate analysis better have that serial number, this, that. I want to see the purity. I want to see everything. And I'm not talking about going on some winky dink website to match it up. Okay. Things better. If I'm going to put it in my body, it's, you know, we've talked before, you know, I don't drink, I eat healthy, this, and why would I just put anything in my body then? So I know what I'm putting in, and I tell everybody else too, with this whole peptide deal, this is, please don't try to save money, guys. This isn't about saving money. I know everybody wants to find a shortcut and try to save money. That's not what you should be doing with this stuff.
No.
And that's the honest truth.
Yep, 100%. As we switch gears a little bit, we're going to kind of highlight a drug or something we're going to talk about is Somatomax. Somatomax. Okay. So let's talk about that, you know, and tell me about it, Garrett. What does it do? Where can you get it? All the things.
All right. Somatomax is not a drug.
Okay.
It's not a peptide.
Okay.
It's a legal, LEGA, not illegal. It's legal.
Okay.
It's a legal supplement.
So Vitamin Top sells it, GNC?
No. You have to go online for it. This is not a supplement that a lot of places carry. Okay. I'll give everybody the name of the best place to get it, where I get it. Okay. After I'm done describing it, and I'll tell you the best place where you can get it for the best price, because you got to be careful. You can go on some places online and you can pay like $15, $20 a tub more. So I'm going to show you something right here. Okay. That's what it is right here, so people can see. Okay. That's Somatomax right there. Okay.
Somatomax, okay.
It comes in a powder. Okay. It's a powder form. Okay. So this way everybody can see. It's not, you know, a little peptide or an injectable or this and that. I dry scoop it and then just swig it down with water.
One scoop? One scoop?
Yep. Okay. One scoop, put it right in my mouth. I personally love the taste of all the flavors. They taste like Flintstone vitamins. Okay. That's what I tell people. A lot of people, my God, I can't do that. I have to mix it in water. Okay. It's too, you know, all right, whatever. I love it. I do that and I just water. You take it right before bedtime. Okay. Now I'm just going to read right off of here. So now I've been taking this since 2006. Okay. So 20 years I've been taking this stuff. I was turned on to this in 2006 and phenomenal. It's made by a company, High Tech Pharmaceuticals. Okay. It's a dietary supplement. So again, it's not a drug, a peptide, anything. Here you go. Increases growth hormone stimulation, enhanced sleep and feeling of well-being, promotes desirable feel-good experience, increases lean muscle mass and definition, It increases your energy and work capacity. Increases libido and sexual energy. So for those people out there that love their Viagra and their Cialis, you know. And we've talked about this before. Increased IGF-1 levels and bone density.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell people straight up about this. It's actually really funny because I was texting your brother, Dennis, this morning.
Okay.
And I brought this up, because he said he has problems with sleeping sometimes.
Yes, he does.
So I brought this up to him this morning. I told him, listen to today's show. I'm gonna speak about this specifically. Here's the thing where you're gonna notice. I tell people the first couple times you take it, you're gonna feel like you've been drugged. And what I mean by that is you will have a very hard time in the morning waking up. So I tell people when you first start this for the first couple times, take it on days that you don't have to get up for work the next morning. Take it on a weekend day. Take it on a day where you don't have to do anything. Okay?
It's almost like that NyQuil feeling when you wake up. That like NyQuil, like how something you take it and you'll be like, oh, what the hell?
Times 20.
Oh, okay, wow.
Times 20. The first couple times you take this, everybody says the same thing. You'll wake up the next morning literally almost like hungover, people say. Okay, you'll wake up out of it. Some people say they have a headache. Some people say the room's spinning. Some people saying they felt uneasy walking. That's until your body adjusts to this.
Okay.
Usually, I remember go back 20 years ago. The first time I ever took this, my body adjusted to it in 48 hours. Some people say they take like a week to adjust to it.
Okay.
Everybody's different. Okay. Within 48 hours, my body adjusted to this like this. Now, I'll just describe the benefits of it straight from me. Okay. Well, what I see a difference of when I use it, when I don't use it. And I do take breaks from it every once in a while. I don't take it 7 days a week. I usually take it 5 days a week because I don't like to rely on it all every single night. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I always take it before training nights. Okay. So when I train, I have to work out the next morning. This is always taken the night before because I want as good of a night's sleep as possible. So the first thing this does is, now I just read all those benefits. Okay. I read all the benefits. Let me break it down now into just layman's terms for people. Okay. The first thing it does is it puts you in your deepest stage sleep, your REM sleep, as quick as possible. So as most people know, you fall asleep and you have your first layer of sleep as you're falling asleep. Then it takes a couple hours to get into that deep REM sleep. And most people only are getting about 2 to 3 hours of true deep REM sleep before you start to come out the other way of this. What this does is this puts you in your deep REM sleep within the first hour. Wow. Keeps you in there, until the final hour or two of when you wake up. What is that going to do? That's going to release the most, because as everybody knows, when you're in your deepest REM sleep, that's when you're releasing your most growth hormone. Mm-hmm. So it's releasing growth hormone, It's burning fat, obviously, from releasing the growth hormone. It's building muscle so it's all tied back to it's releasing the growth hormone, Mm-hmm. The second thing, I tell everybody, you take this stuff, after you're on it for a little bit, a week, 2 weeks, you won't even need an alarm clock. If you're set now in the beginning, like the first couple times you take it, especially the first time, you probably will sleep right through your alarm clock the next morning. You'll be so deep. And when you wake up, you'll be like, that's why I tell people, take it when you don't have to go to work. Okay. After that, after the first week or two, once your body adjusts, let's say you go to bed at, I'm just going to throw a time out there, 11 o'clock, you have to be up at 7:30, right? Mm-hmm. You have an alarm set for 7:30. If you go to bed the time you're supposed to go to bed, you'll start waking up 7:25, 7:27, like this. Just literally bang, waking right up. Okay. And it's not where, you know how you wake up groggy. You wake up and you're literally boom, right out of bed and you're alert. Because you're getting such quality sleep. It's like somebody with sleep apnea and stuff where they're not getting quality sleep. They're not getting the oxygen. This is giving you the best quality sleep you can. So it's allowing you when you wake up, my God, I feel like $1 million. Okay. Now, like I said, I tell everybody about this. The downside to it, and I'll be honest with you, and I told Dennis this morning, so I'm going to explain something to you, and I want to see if you can pick up on this. So the ingredients: 4 amino, 3 phenylbutyric acid, gamma aminobutyric acid. The key word was gamma there. Mucuna pruriens extract, standardized to 50% L-DOPA. We all know what that is.
Okay.
Dopamine.
Dopamine.
Okay. L-arginine, HCI, L-tyrosine, and L-phenylalanine, which is in turkey. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody takes turkey and falls asleep. And vitamin B6.
Okay.
Those are the main ingredients in it. Now, the key things I said in here is gamma and L-DOPA. Does anybody does anybody remember the date rape drug?
GHB.
Yes. Okay. What was GHB being used for outside of
to sleep? To sleep for bodybuilders.
Being used in the fitness and bodybuilding industry
Mm-hmm.
for sleep.
Of course.
Unfortunately, it got in the hands of the wrong people, and they started using it to rape people. I think Bill Cosby was one of them. But they started using it to rape people, okay? Because it would put you in such a deep, you're out of it type sleep. But that also was good with the fitness and bodybuilding industry. It would put you in such a deep sleep. It was releasing growth hormone. But on the downside of things, people were overdosing on it then. A lot of pro wrestlers overdosed on it.
Yes.
Okay, a lot of pro wrestlers. Billy Jack Haynes. There was a stories of tons of guys that would go to the back of the airplane. They would, you're supposed to take one scoop. They would take 3 or 4 scoops because, of course, the idea is more is better. And the next thing you know, they'd be drooling. Stewardesses would be trying to wake them up. It'd be cold. Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's where GHB went bad. Okay. What I try to explain to people what this is great stuff. This is phenomenal stuff. Don't ever take this and drink alcohol the same night.
You'll be out of it. Pass out.
Put it this way. You'll be date raped. Now, if that's what you want, if that's what you're going for, then by all means, mix the two. But if you don't want to be date raped, and that's what it'll do. Because I've told people this before. I told your brother this morning. I've told people not to do this before, and people have not listened to me, okay? And I've gotten texts from people the next day. Bro, you were 100% right. So I was out drinking last night, and I came home, and I was wide awake, so I took that stuff, and, I woke up this morning. I pissed myself while I was sleeping. They peed their bed because they're in such a deep sleep. Their body's not triggering, as you know, like if in the middle of the night you feel the urge to pee, what do? You get up and you pee, okay? It's not giving them that sip because they're so out cold and they wake up in a pee-soaked bed, pee-soaked pants. And that's why I tell people, I'm like, you cannot mix alcohol with this. This then has the effect of the date rape drug. And what I mean by that is you will be out that cold. You will pee yourself. You will have a very difficult time waking up the next day. You will have a massive headache the next day. It's just don't do it. So I tell everybody, never mix alcohol in this. But, and I don't drink. So for me, I never, you know what I mean? It's nothing. But I always tell people, listen, if you're going to drink one night, you're going to drink at home. If you're going to go out and drink it, then skip taking it that night. Just don't take it.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, because I was looking into this too. Some people told me that if you take it for consecutive days, they feel like they have to up the dosage because they feel like they get addicted. It's like addicting. It doesn't work as well. Now that happens to a lot of drugs, I understand, but
I've heard people say that too. I've been using it for 20 years. I've never done more than 1 scoop.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna tell people this. Remember something? We've covered this before. So for anybody that listens all the time, they'll know this. I take no stimulants in. I take no caffeine in. I take no beverages with caffeine. So it's not even like I'm taking a supplement with caffeine. I take no beverages with caffeine. I take no type of outside stimulant whatsoever, okay? So for me, I think that's why it allows me to stay at just the 1 scoop and be extremely effective. Okay. Because I don't have anything else in my body. If you're somebody who drinks a bunch of coffee a day or a bunch of energy drinks or this and that, yeah, you're probably going to become immune to this real quick, okay? But if you're not and you're pretty clean, 1 scoop is fine to stay at, okay? And it's also what you've done in your past. And what I mean by that is if you're somebody in your past who was a GHB person, if you were somebody in your past who's done a lot of party drugs, a lot of uppers, a lot of downers, a lot of just mixing a whole bunch of different things, yeah, you're going to probably have to up the dose on this because your body has been used to so many things. Okay?
Yeah, 100%.
But
where do you get it? Where do you get it?
Volumenutrition.com.
Volumenutrition.com.
Volume Nutrition. I believe it's the only thing they sell now. I don't think when you go to their site, I don't think they have anything else on their site. I think this is all they sell. This and that's it. Volumenutrition.com. They're located in Georgia. You order it on a Sunday, for example, you'll have it Thursday or Friday. They come fast. It's no bullshit. It's not. Comes real fast. The more you buy, I buy usually 4 tubs at a time. You save money. Also use a code. I think it's Soma, SOMA 8, and you'll get 8% off your order. So use the code Soma 8. You get 8% off your order. Volumenutrition.com. And I'm telling you, for anybody, you have trouble sleeping. Now, I don't have trouble sleeping. I use this as a supplement, as a bodybuilding aid. Yes, I use it for that because even without this, man, listen. If I had to, I could fall asleep standing up. I've never had a problem with sleep in my life. Okay, I have this unique ability. I could lay in bed. All I have to do is turn to one side or turn to the other side, and I'm out like a light within 30 seconds. So I'm very lucky like that. I use this for the bodybuilding benefits and all that, but I tell people it's phenomenal. Somatomax. It's a lot of people have never heard of it. A lot of people they never, and they're like, what is that? What is it? People ask me, is that a peptide? No, it's a natural supplement. You can go right online, Volume Nutrition. Just order it,
Is it different than melatonin? Because I heard melatonin's a little bit different.
Very different.
Okay.
Very different. I've had people who have used melatonin before, who have then used this and said, oh, yeah, they feel the difference.
Night and day.
Yes, totally different. I've never used melatonin in my life.
Okay.
That's me, but I know other people who have, and they've used this instead, and they've said, wow, I love this.
How much does it go for, roughly?
The 4 case, I think it brings it down to like $32 or $33 a tub.
32, 33. Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, so it's not expensive at all. It's usually I get 4 of them after shipping and everything. It's like $158 for 4 of these, and that usually 4 tubs will last you like 3-4 months.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so it's not like you need 4 tubs a month. 4 tubs last 3-4 months. And so it's not an expensive item at all. You think about it, let's say $160 after shipping, $160 for 3-4 months supply or something. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Can you days you're training? So let's say you're doing heavy legs on a next day. Tomorrow you're doing heavy legs. Tonight you would take a scoop. That's what you do when you take it with water or whatever. And you wake up, do your exercise, no problems at all. No
problems. No problems. I take it. Usually what I do is now I take this, and this is ironic because once your body becomes used to it, the times I don't take this are in the days when I don't have to train anybody in the morning and when I don't have to work out myself in the morning. So complete off days completely. That's when I don't take it because I usually take this because I feel so much better on the nights I take it when I wake up in the morning. I also feel it energizes me for my workouts in the morning. Because like I said, I'm a morning person. I work out in the AM. It energizes me for that. The nights I skip it, 2 nights a week I skip it, are usually days when I don't have to work out myself. I don't have to train anybody, and I just can wake up whenever I want to wake up, and it doesn't matter. And I don't have to wake up and do anything. What this allows me to do is like when I have clients in the morning, early morning before I train myself. What this allows me to do is actually talk to my clients rather than just bark at them the entire time. It makes me more personable. That's the best way to put it. It makes me a little bit more able to put up with their bullshit. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Listen to the complaining a little bit more, this and that, rather than just being like, for the love of God, will you shut up and just do it? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
now this is good for you to sleep. Now, waking up and working out. Do you take any pre-workout?
Yep. Take a pre-workout, stimulant free.
Stimulant free. Okay. So no caffeine. You're talking
No caffeine.
Okay.
It's
What kind of brand do you take?
You know what? I got to look. And what I'll do is I will show it on air next week.
Okay.
Because I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know the name of it.
Oh, okay.
So I got to look at my cabinet because I'm just so used to boom, boom.
Boom, boom,
I
boom,
take
boom.
my pre-workout. I will say there's a couple things that go into my pre-workout. It's not just a pre-workout. It's a stimulant-free pre-workout.
Okay.
It's also a stimulant-free nitric oxide booster. Okay. For pumps. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 scoop of the stimulant-free workout, 1 scoop of the stimulant-free nitric oxide booster, 1 scoop of the total beats. Remember, I've talked about the total beats
Total
before.
beats. Mm-hmm.
That also boosts your nitric oxide. 1 heaping scoop of creatine, 1 teaspoon of baking soda.
Mm-hmm.
Whole thing is mixed up. Boom, down it. And I have a habit of what I try to tell people is you don't want to take right before you train a ton. Like I see people, like let's say this is 25 ounces, right? They'll drink 25 ounces of water with their pre-workout right before they work out. And then it's sitting in their stomach like this.
Mm-hmm.
What I try to tell people is you never want to eat too close to training. Okay. I always eat at least an hour before training.
Mm-hmm.
You never want to drink too much before training. And the reason why is it goes to your stomach. What happens? The blood flow then goes to your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
That takes away from the blood that could be going into the muscles for the pump.
Okay. Wow.
Now, I know some people might look at it out there and go, okay, that's being beyond anal.
Mm-hmm.
But trust me, it works. There's a difference. If your blood is all going to your stomach because that's where it's needed, you're going to get a shittier pump than if you have all your ability for your blood to go into the muscle. Okay. And as people have seen before with the blood restriction training and all that, the whole idea is to try to get that as much blood in a muscle as possible. Well, why would you want it in your stomach when it could be going to your delts or your chest or your legs or your, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
I know Arnold, I think, trained on an empty stomach all the time.
You always train on an empty stomach. I don't train on an empty because I can't do that. I literally, I can't. I just physically can't. So I have a meal an hour prior, and then I train. I cannot train. I have to when I wake up. I have to eat usually within 15 or 20 minutes of when I'm awake. Otherwise, I start getting like literally lightheaded. I've always been like that. I can't go a period of time without eating. So, but Arnold used to train empty. I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of that. I feel that breaks down muscle also. So, but I do an hour before, then I do the pre-workout. And what I do is, so if I have my pre-workout container, okay, I only fill up that high with water. Then I put all the powders in. Then I just down it real quick. And when you down it, you're downing it like it takes me 1, maybe 2 gulps to down the whole thing. Because the idea is I'm trying to put as little bit of water in my stomach before working out, rather than having an entire container full of water. Then when I train, then I have my water jug, and as I'm training, I'm taking sips of my extend branched chain amino acids. Okay. But I'm never standing there gulping it. I'm taking sips in between sets. Got to stay hydrated. But again, I don't want to, you see sometimes people, they bring their, and they're just like this in between sets. And I'm like, what are you doing? That doesn't, just take sips. You want to sip on your stuff. You don't want to down it. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Now, after I work out, usually like after I work out, maybe within the hour after I work out, I always get some protein in my body, a drink or something. That's what I actually learned that from you going years when we used to train at Gold's Gym. Usually right after we work out, we used to grab protein drinks and whatever. Some people are saying now, oh, you shouldn't have a protein after you work out. Wait 2 hours or 3 hours. How do you feel? I think you should get it right into you after. What do you think?
Get it right into your body as soon as after. What I have to do now is I get protein and carbohydrates and simple sugars. What I mean by, 2 halos or 2 tangerines, stuff like that. Okay. I like the small little halos or tangerines better than I do like big oranges, but 2 halos, 2 tangerines. Like for example, I'll use today after legs. Okay. So I come inside, I have an entire package of quinoa, which is 83 grams of protein, of carbohydrates, of carbohydrates. For anybody that wants to fact check me out there, I just corrected myself. That was a misspeak. I said carbohydrates. Which I know people, my God, he said protein. Quinoa doesn't have protein. So for anybody out there that's fact checking me right now.
Yep.
So 83 grams of carbohydrates. Then over that, I have grilled chicken and grilled steak. Okay, which gives me another 46 grams of protein. So I got 46 grams of protein, 83 grams of carbohydrates. And with that, I have also a couple stalks of asparagus. And then I have the 2 halos or tangerines, whatever you want to call them. Yep. And that's my post-workout. So I'm getting and that's within 15, 20 minutes after I'm done working out. So I'm getting my protein, my carbohydrates, my simple sugar, all in there, okay, right after training.
Yeah, well, when we used to work out at Gold's Gym in Paramus, we used to work out and then we would grab the protein. You would steal the protein shakes or whatever we got, then leave, hit the mall and get something to eat. Usually at the mall, we grab food or whatever it was, whatever we had to eat.
Paramus Park.
Yeah, Paramus Park Mall. Yes,
Paramus Park. We would have our protein shakes at Gold's, and
some of them we would get a couple extra. I don't know how that happened. But.
I don't know how that happened either. But yeah, we would have the protein shakes, and then we would go over to Paramus Park Mall, and we would walk around for a little bit to let the protein shakes. We would have that in our system right away. Yep. And then within usually about a half hour, we would go and then we would have something with carbs and protein and blah 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 blah. Also, now so I've been doing that forever. Immediately right after. I learned that. I was like 15 years old, I think, when I learned that. Okay. And, I've always adhered to that. Feed your muscles when you're done training. Okay. The quickest thing that's going to happen is if you don't feed your muscles when you're done training, that's how atrophy sets in. Got to feed your muscles. Got it. You got to. So protein, carbohydrates, a lot of people just do the protein right after. I did that for a long time. And I feel and see a monster difference taking that protein and that carbohydrates in right after training, especially like a leg day or something. You have to.
Yeah, protein drink is always good to have to help supplement a meal, but it's always good to have real food.
Exactly.
Real food. Get the real steak, potatoes, whatever it is, baked potato. That you want real food in your body. That's what you really want. Protein shakes are just.
I tell everybody that you want. A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I'm eating 5 times a day. I'm doing that." Oh, well, what are you eating? Well, I'm having a protein shake for breakfast, and I'm having a protein shake for lunch, and then I'm having my dinner, and then I have a protein shake after dinner. I have a protein shake before bed. So you've had 1 meal all day and 4 protein shakes. That's not eating 5 times a day.
Yes.
Okay. I supplement my meals with protein shakes. Okay. Yes. So I have all my meals. Usually I eat 6 to 7 full meals a day. Okay. And then I have a protein shake or 2 on top of that. And then I have I told you, we talked before, those built protein bars, those soft ones.
Like the marshmallow ones, yeah.
Yes, I pop those as snacks, to be honest with you. So I'll have maybe 3 or 4 of those a day, just as snacks. I'll be training somebody, I'll snack on that. It's just something just to have in my mouth, just to oh man, I'm a little hungry, So I do that in between meals as snacks. But those are just little built protein bars, But yeah, no, I agree the same thing. You have to take real food in. Nothing replaces real food. Nothing.
I'm going to ask you this question a little bit off topic. Some people wanted me to ask you this, and I know the answer already. Who is your favorite bodybuilder of all time, and who do you think is the greatest?
Dorian Yates.
Okay.
Dorian Yates.
I'm a Ronnie Coleman guy, so I think Ronnie. I know him a long time. I ran into him a few times. I like Ronnie, but Dorian, I could say he's up there. But Dorian is your favorite.
My favorite, and the reason why is, as I tell people, am I a big fan of Arnold? Of course I am. And you can't have anything to do with health, fitness, and not respect and appreciate Arnold. Arnold was the original, okay? I know people will go back to Ridge Parks and those guys, way before. But Arnold was the original. Arnold's the one that brought all this into mainstream. If it wasn't for Arnold, okay, none of this would even be in mainstream. They would still be underground type stuff, okay? So you got to respect Arnold. But out of pure, when I got into it, it was after Arnold's career was over. I was little when Arnold was bodybuilding. Okay, when
Yep.
Arnold was bodybuilding, you know, I'm 7 years old, 6 years old. I was too young. You know what I mean? It wasn't until when I got into it, Yates had let me see, he won the Night of Champions in New York. Okay, won the Night of Champions in New York when then I started getting into it. Okay, competing and stuff. So he was what I looked at as my God. Now I'm going to be honest with you. We talked about this before. There used to be, and I don't know if there still is, the New Jersey State Bodybuilding Championships and the Suburban Bodybuilding Championships, and they were both put on by John Kemper's Diamond Gym. Okay, so you had the Suburban and you had the New Jersey State, and at the Suburban in 1990, it was 2 or 3. I can't remember. It was either 92 or 93. Just can't remember the exact year. But either 92 or 93. The guest poser at the Suburban in Jersey was Dorian Yates. I went to that show, okay, at the Suburban. I wasn't competing in that show. I competed in the New Jersey State Championships, but I went to that show. And to this day, I tell people, I have never seen in person a human being built like that. Now, he was off season. He was about 298 pounds, I think, at the time, off season, at a height of 5'10", 5'11". I never saw, as he sat there, okay, you had like a meet and greet and a breakfast with him, okay? And it was all bodybuilders and it was him. And I remember him sitting there and it looked like he had, you ever see like cattle, a side of beef?
Yep.
Okay? And you see that thick slab of beef on the side of beef. That was his lat hanging over his oblique. And to this day, I can see that clear as day in my head. I know where I was sitting. I remember where he was sitting. And I remember I couldn't take my eyes off of that, okay? The slab of beef, it looked like a cattle, okay? That his lat. And I'll never, ever forget that. Then when he guest posed, I'll never forget, he was enormous. It was the thickest human I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
So yeah, I being at the time 17 or 18, okay, was mesmerized by him. Mesmerized.
So what do you think about Ronnie?
Seeing that in person. Now I met also when I was 17, okay, at Strong and Shapely Gym. When I was 17 years old, he came down from Boston, Mike Matarazzo.
Oh yeah, Mike Matarazzo.
Now I will say this. I've heard people say stories about him. I met him when I was 17 and I thought he was one of the coolest dudes ever.
Really?
He was beyond nice. He was training in the gym, working out himself at Strong and Shapely. He was approachable. He was down to earth. He was like just one of the regular guys. Okay. And this is after he had won the USA. Okay. Because if I'm not mistaken, he won the USAs in 91, I think. So this was after that. Okay. Right after that. And he was unbelievably cool. Okay. He was a big dude. Don't get me wrong. He was a big dude, but it was different. I remember his calves. He had these diamond calves that were just, my God. And those biceps. And he was impressive. It wasn't Dorian Yates. It wasn't Yates' style of training either. Listen, Yates with the whole blood and guts. And I was so drawn to his
training video. Yeah. Back in the day.
His blood and guts training. I was so, because I always believed in, you leave nothing on the bar. You give everything you have. Okay. You give everything you have in your workout. Okay. You're not there to hang out and talk and blah, 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 blah. You're there to train. Okay. It's not social hours. And that's why I was so impressed with Yates, because his blood and guts. And remember the guy he trained with, and come on, Yates, come on, I still can do it. You know what I mean? Yates, give me another. You know what I mean? It was so just raw and in black and white in that dungeon temple gym in England. Okay. It was unlike anything else you saw. Everything else was the fancy bright lights and they try to make it look so good for video. And it was Yates really training. And you've never seen something like that before. And that's when I had started adopting a lot of his methods, the lat underhand pull down, the lat underhand row, that's where I really bought into the, wait a minute, if you turn your lat movements with the palm facing up, you're hitting your lower lat a lot more effectively, okay, than you would with an overhand grip. So I adopted a lot of his things. I also adopted for him because and if you remember this, and listen, I still have a little hard time with this. I've loved squatting. Okay. Always my whole life. If you tell me, bro, you got 10 minutes this week for the whole week to work out, you only got 10 minutes. I would spend that 10 minutes trying to get as many sets of free weight squat in as I can. Okay?
I hated doing legs with you. Hated. After my hip was replaced, I mean, we were going balls to the wall, but it was tough back in the day.
But I loved legs. I was taught that at a young age. Legs. I was taught at a young age, if you're going to squat, it's ass to grass. Okay. Yeah. So I've always been but what I adopted from Yates is Yates had a hip injury from squatting early on. And he's the one that adopted big usage of the hack squat. So from Yates, I started adapting and, okay, I'm going to use the hack squat more. Okay. And I started using his methods on the hack squat. Vader. Sorry. Always Vader. Always Vader. My God, I see him out of the corner of my eye. I started adapting with the hack squat. Okay. And I then started playing around with Mike Mentzer's method. Mike Mentzer had a method of doing the hack squat where he would do a duck stance. Then Yates adopted it, and you would use the duck stance, and when you would come down, you would allow you've always heard everything, don't allow your knees to travel over your toes. But for maximum range of motion, you should allow your knees to travel over your toes. So I adopted that. Now what I have, with my own training, adjusted it to that listen, you saw it, I showed it to you online and stuff. I bought it, my own pendulum squat. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that.
There is nothing. You do that thing right, there is nothing that hits your legs like a pendulum squat. It allows you to go deeper than any movement there is. You saw online that one day when you said, okay, it allows me to go deeper than any movement, no strain on my back, no strain on my knees. And it allows me to go deep as hell. And it's a humbling exercise because you cannot use a ton of weight on it. Like I tell people, a client of mine said, I saw the video you posted the other day. Why were you struggling with that on that machine? And I said, because whatever you normally squat, you see me squat with 5 plates on each side and this. And I said, cut that in half on the pendulum squat. And that's the honest to God truth. You have to cut that in half. So pendulum squat, I believe, going forward as I get older and stuff, is going to save my knees, going to save my back, because I've been cutting out free weight squats a lot because I pretty much use the pendulum as my main movement now. And it's, so again, but Dorian Yates, hands down. I mean, I can't, he was impressionable at the time I was getting into it. Ronnie was after I was in it a little while. So, and I have a very hard time with change. I really do. So Yates was my guy. So when Ronnie came along, I don't want to hear bullshit. Yates is the best. You know what I mean? And that's how I was, I just,
Yeah.
Listen, Ronnie was enormous. Ronnie was absolutely, but I never liked his training methods. And over time, it shows he hurt himself with his training methods.
Yeah, he did hurt himself, but
so he hurt himself with his training methods. I was never a big fan of Ron. I'm not saying Ronnie wasn't strong. Jesus. I mean,
yeah.
But it just, Yates was always just my hands down, my favorite. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're about wrapping it up here. Next week, we're going to talk about, I think we're going to talk about Diana Ball, and we'll have another peptide we'll talk about. But guys, Garrett, where can they find you?
Pope Training on Instagram. One word, Pope, P-O-P-E training. Go ahead, DM me, ask me any questions you want. I do paid consults like I've talked about before. Training, nutrition, peptide, gear, supplements, you name it. go ahead, message me on there. I'll get back to you, and we can set a phone consultation up. I'm a real person. I'm really not just a robot, so you can talk to me in person.
All right, brother. I will talk to you next week. All right.
Talk to you next week.
You got it, man. All right.
Bye.
Started from nothing. Jersey streets, we owned it. Jay-Z pumping iron. Bodybuilder coding. Years on